Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Environmental Justice Design Deep Dive Showcase. This is showcase number 15 in our 2022 summer intern showcases. I'm June Bea, CEO of Bea Group. And at Bea Group, we've been so fortunate to be working with 3 school districts over several years now. So with Downey Unified, we've been working with them for 7 years. This is our 7th year of running internships. At first, they were in person. Then during the pandemic, we positioned to doing it virtual. So all of our interns are working from home. And then we work now also with Davis Joint Unified School District, as well as Glendale. So we have high school interns who have been getting paid. They saw a job posting, they applied, submitted their resume, and did interviews. So they have been working with us for the past 6 weeks. And so the first week we did onboarding at Bea Group, where they got email addresses, did employee just orientation. And then we had a leadership session and then communication mastery, as well as how to navigate Microsoft 365. Then we had social justice in the workplace every week. And then starting week 2, they started working with their deep dive lead. So there were 16 different deep dives. This one is environmental justice design, and our collaborative partner, Blue Dot Education, we're so fortunate. They actually have run several deep dives. And today, Brian Delgado is here leading this one. Hi, Brian.
Hey, June. Thanks. So this internship is near and dear to my heart. It is a prototype, actually. The whole thing is a prototype of an idea that I toyed around with as a possibility with colleagues probably 6 or 7 years ago. I started playing with this idea because it kept, I for many years worked in high schools and worked with youth, and we always had the feeling like they were capable of doing more. We just weren't asking a lot of them. And so this was an opportunity to unleash the high school students who are interns for us as designers on the world. And so we all learned a lot. I learned a lot. I know if I ran it again, I would do certain things differently. I probably failed them in ways, but what I really appreciate about this group is they persevered through it. And it was an internship that was fully embedded in like looking out at the world and asking ourselves the question of, okay, we have some issues with the environment and issues just with social justice that connect with that as well. What can we do about it? And they use the design thinking process to prototype ideas, to test them out in the world, to get feedback and to improve upon them. What I'm really inspired by is these ideas are going to live on after this internship. You'll hear this in the presentations. We have 15 different projects that sort of span the gamut. Some of them left the field of environmental justice and were really more of a social justice project, but I was fine with that. And I'm just so impressed with what the interns were able to do in terms of navigating really a real world complicated dynamic process that we went through. With life going on in the background, I've never had, this is my 4th time leading one of these, and I have never had a group have to deal with so much life in the background, whether that is like Wi-Fi issues or getting stung by stingrays or like having, some family tragedy and like navigating that to get to the point where they wrapped up a project and they're able to present it today. So just know the 18 of you in this internship, you guys will forever have a special place in my heart for the work you did. And without further ado, I'd like to bring on Sergio Corriel to start us off.
Can you guys see my slides all right? All right. My name is Sergio Corriel. I'm an incoming senior at Downey High School. And for my deep dive, I did 2 projects focusing on plants and health. For my first project, I did a pamphlet on deforestation, in particular urban deforestation. And that's basically the removal of plants from communities. As you can see, there's a big difference between a community without plants and one with plants. It has different effects, especially on mental health. And this is what the pamphlet looks like. It has listed some of the benefits of living around nature, such as decreased anxiety, filtered air, less erosion. Then on the second page of the pamphlet, there's listed different ways that people can combat urban deforestation, such as spreading the seeds of native plant species, hand pollinating plants so that their seeds get passed on, and planting a garden in your backyard or windowsill. And that idea ties into my next project. And from this project, I realized the major role that nature plays in human development, whether it be just gaining responsibility, having to care for a plant, or just being more of an outdoors person. For the second project I did, it was a seed mix, and it's a way of combating urban deforestation and getting the community enthusiastic about nature. The seed mix consists of green beans, broad beans, snow peas, and all these seeds would be held in recycled water bottles with the substrate being compost and coconut coir. And I chose this type of seed mix because of the effects of legumes. And legumes take nitrogen from the air and they fix it into the ground so that future generations of plants can grow much stronger. It's a technique used by farmers in wide-scale agriculture. And for the second seed mix I designed, I did a microgreen seed mix. Basically, microgreens are where you plant your seeds and then you let them grow till they're seedlings, and then you chop them off and put them in your food to add the nutrients that comes with them. I chose wheatgrass, radish, alfalfa, and beets, all because of their different characteristics and the different nutrients that they add. And of course, there will be no substrate for this one because microgreens can be grown on just like a wet paper towel or something. From this project, I learned that the possibilities with plants are endless and they all have different characteristics to utilize, whether it be juices with wheatgrass, fibers from flax, or even skincare from aloe vera. After this internship, I plan to make a website and connect with seed donors through that website. I also plan on making communities on Facebook. I know there's a Downey community for gardeners, which I'll advertise my seeds there. And I also want to give a big thanks to my deep dive leader, Brian, for being the first seed donor. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio. That's a great project. Then we're going to move right along and ask Emily to come on to share.
Can you guys see my screen? Yeah? Okay. So, hi, I'm Emily Gomez. I go to Downey High School, and this is my recycling bin plan. So, what is this plan about? I plan on informing the public on recycling, on how they can reduce, reuse, and recycle. And I want to make sure that recycling bins are just as available to the public as trash bins are. And I want to reduce the amount of items that could be recycled in landfills, such as aluminum, plastics, and cardboard. And I really want to keep plastics out of oceans because marine life and conservation is something that's really important to me. And how do I plan on informing people? Well, posters. I made these 2 posters on my own, and I plan on making more as this design kind of goes like along. And wherever there's a recycling bin, I plan on putting posters. And I also just want to put them around my community, not just where there's recycling bins, but where there's a lot of foot traffic and where people can see them. And how can this like help my community, and what are my plans for the future? Well, when I first started this plan, I originally wanted it to be in beach communities. So that way I could focus on the conservation part, but it was really hard for me to get a voice out. And I kind of learned through that getting these plans in motion is really hard. So I decided to work a lot closer to home And I contacted my school district about hopefully getting more recycling bins and posters about recycling on campus. Since there's a lot of foot traffic, people are always throwing things away, and there's a lack of recycling bins and just a lot of trash bins. So I've been working with some school board members and also vice principals at my school. And starting this school year, we'll be talking about putting in recycling bins around campus and also putting posters around campus. I also have a marine biology club. You can see like the little logo there. And I really want to just present this plan to them, and hopefully they can also just help me put up posters around the school and even around like the town. So that would be really helpful if they could also just, help me put up posters and just inform people on recycling. And yeah, that was my plan.
Thank you, Emily.
Oh.
That's great. So next up, and I believe I'm going to be sharing screen for Helen.
Okay. Hi, my name is Helen. I go to Downey High School, and my idea was a advertisement business concept named AFES. It's an acronym that stands for Advertisement for Environmental Sustainability. The overall issues that I want to attack with this business is to start in local communities and spotlight issues that will actually help and make an impact. My first advertisement is Don't Boast and Compost. 43% of excessive food waste comes from within households, meaning that people aren't reading expiration dates correctly. They're throwing away food based on physical appearance, and the lack of knowledge on composting and what benefits it brings to your garden and to your body. And in the advertisement at the end, it has an article of the week attached to it, which provides further information on how composting not only helps you, but it helps your community. My second advertisement is Reuse, Reduce, and Recycle. I wanted to tackle the issue of excessive clothing production. I know in our generation, buying clothes is definitely a staple. So I wanted to incorporate that on how to be more environmentally conscious. So an article that is attached to the QR code is how to upcycle clothes and how to invest in businesses that are quality over quantity. You want to buy a shirt that's going to last you a year, instead of buying 5 that are only going to last you a couple of months. So I also think that that's a great way to be environmentally cautious, especially within our generation. My third advertisement is how to properly water your plants. Another big issue that we have here in America is the lack of knowledge that we have on what's inside of our food. I think cutting out the middleman instead of going to grocery stores and not knowing how to pronounce certain ingredients is kind of suspicious. So I think if you're growing plants at home, you know what's going into your food, and as well as planting home remedies, because nutrients from plants, I think personally, would be better than buying into capitalist businesses like Big Pharma and not knowing what's inside of your medication, as well as just another way to decorate and get more involved with your community and building communal gardens for everyone to share. And lastly is sustainability in school. I first had the idea of implicating ads within our Downey newspaper to get the word out and to educate my peers on how sustainability has such an impact on us now, because we are teenagers living in America in 2022, and how an environmental crisis is such a big thing right now. So I think implicating this ad particularly in a newspaper or handing it out in flyers can make such a big impact. So as you can see in the ad, it has investing in reusable water bottles and lessening the plastic that we are wasting, and educating yourself and going to green club meetings and taking advantage of natural sunlight can be simple ways that we can become more environmentally conscious. And lastly is self-reflection and what I learned throughout this internship. So my project was an overall advertisement business concept that I wanted to further educate myself, my peers, and my community on small issues that we can tackle by simple steps implicating in our new routine. What I learned about myself is that there's so much waste, not only coming from myself and me being unaware of it, but from so much from my community. And I think if I just keep pushing the business concept, more people will get it and they'll understand how important it is, as well as about the world and educating my community and how much they have an impact on the environment. Lastly, what does this mean for you moving forward? I feel very passionate about this business idea, and I think it could be something really great. I think it's a great way that teens and younger people can understand, because it is online, and since it is an advertisement, we're scrolling through social media, we're clicking links all day. So I think it'll reach our newer generation, and our newer generation is the people that are going to make a difference. I also wanted to thank the Beja group for this internship and Brian for guiding us along the way.
Thank you, Helen. Next up is Josh Finn.
Hi, my name is Joshua Finn. I will be a senior at Warren High School. My project is about air pollution. What I did was I created a flyer so I can go out to my communities, to my family, and show how much air pollution we're doing just from at home and what big business are doing to the environment also. Most of our air pollution comes from vehicles, stationaries, areas, and natural disasters, and they have made our air just way worse than it should be. The increase of air pollution has risen from 2020. It went down a lot because of the pandemic, and throughout from 2021 to 2022, it has risen up more because everybody's going out and they don't want to be inside. And due to that, our air pollution has been getting worse and is now affecting our icebergs and our just environment other places. My idea on getting big businesses aboard is emailing them about our emissions and trying to convince them to go to solar, which is more of an efficient way to use energy, and it'll be a saver for our environment. What I learned was our daily use of air, of what we use that creates harm to air pollution, such as cars, just stuff we use at home, and it's creating heating and ruining icebergs and melting icebergs, which we're needing for water. And what I didn't know was that most icebergs are now melting because of the warm earth, and it's just now going into the water, and it could probably freeze it because so big chunks are going into the water. My impact moving forward will be to keep on using be conservative at home by using good habits such as using less power, by traveling with more than one person, because that will create less emission in the air, and letting my family do that also, because with them knowing to do that, it'll make our air more conservative. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Genevieve is up next. And Genevieve, I will share your presentation.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Genevieve, and I will be a senior at Downey High School. I made an educational film on why saving our trees is important, and how as individuals we could help save trees. What did I do? I made an educational film on how trees are important to our environment. I collected and provided information about trees, and I provided different ways to help save trees. I provided tips on how to plant a tree as well. What was my process? To gain reliable facts, to provide correct information, reading articles on the cons of cutting trees down, and making sure my sources and what I needed was accurate to publish and educate who watches the film. What I learned about this world is that animals are losing their habitat as trees get cut down every day, causing certain animals and certain species to slowly go extinct. What was one thing I learned about myself? One thing I learned about myself was that I enjoy nature, and I feel bad for the animals losing their habitats due to trees getting cut down. What was the resolution that you learned about yourself in the world? After doing my research for this topic, I came to realization that even if you might not think everyone will help saving the trees, starting as an independent individual is still making a difference to changing the environment. And then those are just like tips on how to plant a tree, and then ways you can save trees. And then on the bottom is a link to my educational film.
I'm going to reshare so I can share the sound as well. Just give me one
Okay.
sec.
Trees get cut down every day. 2,400 trees get cut down a minute. 4,500 acres are cut down every hour. 42 million trees get cut a day. 15 billion trees get cut down a year. The problem with this is that there is not enough replantation with the amount of trees that are getting cut down every day. Trees help the air we breathe from the leaves and bark. Trees absorb harmful air and release clean oxygen to breathe healthy air quality. Trees absorb different types of gases such as carbon monoxide and nitrogen dioxide. Trees help in our environment by preventing natural disasters like landslides and floods. Trees are also not only very important to humans, but as well to animals and other species. One tree can be a home to different insects, birds, and animals. With no tree, forest creatures have no place to call home. Different types of trees provide different foods for wild animals and humans. Foods that grow on trees are apples, oranges, cherries, lemons, apricots, coconuts, grapefruits, mangoes, nectarines, peaches, pears, plums, pomegranates, and much more. The best environment for a tree to be planted will be in a land-owned space or an approved area by city, state, or federal government. Knowing what types of root you'll be growing and planting is very important as well. Here are some tips you could plant a tree and ways you can help save trees. That was my educational film. Thank you.
Thank you, Genevieve. I want to invite up Punya next, who will share.
Can you see my screen? Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Punya and I'm an incoming senior at Davis Senior High School. So for my project, I wanted to focus on sustainability, especially because of the droughts and fires that are happening in California. I wanted to focus on making a database of plants that are native to the area. And I came up with this idea because I was talking to my mom, who's a gardener. And a lot of her plants were dying because of the summer heat. I asked her if she knew anything about drought-resistant plants or self-sustainable plants, and she really didn't. So I asked more gardeners about it, and they had the same response. I started looking into native plants because, and I realized that a lot of gardeners don't know how beneficial they are to a community. They save water because they're naturally drought resistant, lessen the need for harmful pesticides, and create habitats for native species. So having a more native garden is incredibly valuable to a community, and I wanted to focus on that for my project. I started designing my idea by conducting more interviews to kind of solidify the idea in my mind of what people needed. I sketched out my idea, got feedback, and started coding some of the framework and testing it. Something that was really important to me for this design was making it very user-friendly, because I think information like this should be very easy to access, otherwise people aren't going to use it. And so here on the left is the first sketch. I have like a filtering system, and I thought to have like little cards with the plants that you could click on and then get information about how to care for the plant. And on the right here is my final result, and it has all the information, it has the filtering system, and I think it turned out pretty well. And here's a QR code if anyone wants to look at it. What I learned is this internship gave me an opportunity to have my voice heard, and I didn't expect to really take it that far. I initially thought to take kind of an easy way out. Like I wanted to just use a website builder and just put some information on it and call it a day. But I knew that wouldn't have made me as satisfied because an important part of my design was the filtering system. And I couldn't figure out how to implement that without just making a website from scratch. So that's what I did. With zero experience, I jumped straight into coding a website. And I learned a lot about coding and design through that. I also learned as the internship went on that a lot of my coworkers kind of did the same thing, where they started off with something small and it snowballed into something really ambitious. And we've all accomplished a lot. So I've learned that I'm capable of a lot more than I thought I was. And when given the opportunity, so are a lot of other people. And I think that really just shows the importance of giving people the time and the space and the resources to do, to voice their ideas, because it can have some really unexpected, powerful results. Thank you for listening. That's my presentation.
Thank you so much, Punya. Next up, I would like to invite Jason Clark. And I'm going to share screen, I believe.
Hi, I'm Jason Clark, and I'm an incoming senior at Downey High School, and I decided to focus on re-entry for inmates. I had created a draft to send to the governor of California about the re-entry program and creating like a system where it'd be kind of like college where they could graduate. And during my process, I had actually first started on a different idea, but I couldn't go through with the idea because I was a little too late, which was a little bit frustrating and discouraging. But I decided to pick up and start to focus on re-entry. My original idea was to reopen the Ranchos Los Amigos Rehabilitation Center for the homeless, in which I had created a petition, but it's being made into a soccer field. In my process, I learned that the world doesn't put much focus towards the homeless and inmates. What I learned about myself is that I tend to focus on just one idea when I should be expanding my mind on multiple. The resolution between what I learned about the world and myself is that you can't be closed-minded. And even if you have an idea and that idea can't go through, there's other ways to help the world in your community. There are many ideas when it comes to reentry and actually trying to see people get out and become healthy citizens of our cities and states. One way to do this, there would need to be a process of ensuring each one of these people. A one-year program would be designed to work on a variety of issues from cognitive health to substance abuse treatment. They could learn how to live with the disease known as addiction, as well as go through training that actually provides job placement and franchise opportunities. Each person will be obligated to participate in several classes, including financial understanding and anger management, as well as meditation and spiritual understanding if they choose. With these classes, the inmates will have to pass and receive a certain amount of credits to graduate, kind of like college. With graduation would come insurance. This insurance would be an excuse remover, so they can no longer use excuses such as, I don't have a car to get a job, or I don't have clothes for an interview, as reasons for why they can't stay out of prison. This insurance would cover all these needs. The funding for such insurance will have to be government funded, but the budget for reentry programs is pretty high, so finding a way to allocate these funds already set in budget would be the real task. I believe many who go back to prison do it because they don't have the resources and necessities they need on the outside, which is why they need the reentry program to help teach them how to survive as law-abiding students. And I would like to thank the BEA group for giving me the opportunity to start this project, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Jason. I know you went through it from your first idea, going down that particular rabbit hole, getting stuck. It's part of the design process. So let's see. Yes, and I think we're gonna invite up June. Did someone from Glendale Unified want to say something?
Yeah, so Christina's here from Glendale Unified. We
Hi.
have, hi, Christine.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'll introduce myself. I'm Christine Papanyan. I'm from the Glendale Unified School District. I'm the college and career technician here. And I just want to say thank you to the BEA group for their hard work and the amazing program that you guys offer. I'm really impressed with the wonderful job that our students did, and I really hope they got to experience and learn a lot this summer and just have fun.
Thanks, Christine. We really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Perfect. Okay, so next up, we have a group of 4 who came together to work on a film. So I'm going to get Gerline, Christy, Samantha, and Diego, invite them on.
Hi, everyone. My name is Samantha Pinedo, and I'm an incoming senior at Warren High School. Let me share my screen really quick. Okay, so my group decided to work on water contamination, more specifically in Downey. So since we all live in Downey, we decided to work on the water contamination issue of the wells in Downey, PFAS and stuff like that. So we focus mainly on well 16, which you can see here on Cecilia Street, and the Coca-Cola factory.
Our goal for this project was to fix Downey's water quality, and the solutions we came up with was creating an educational video as well as a petition to petition City Council to make changes in our water system.
So here's our video, the educational film that we all came together and made.
Downey's residents are facing a relevant issue, not only with their environment, but also with their health. And for most, it's unknowingly.
The water in Downey is used by everyone. So with the water being contaminated by PFAS, it poses a dangerous threat to the community, specifically marginalized groups and low-income families, including their schools and parks.
Low-income families are less likely to have water filters in their homes, therefore increasing their exposure to the contaminants.
Even though water filtration systems do provide some help, it has been found that they do not completely remove the PFAS from the water. This means that the water fountains in parks and in schools in the Downey area that have water filtration systems are still not entirely safe since they still contain contaminants that are PFAS. And since PFAS are forever chemicals, that means that they are difficult to destroy and will remain in the environment, therefore making them harder to get rid of and more of a danger. And to add on about PFAS,
They have these properties that make them heat resistant, water repellent, and close to indestructible because of the extremely strong bond formed between fluorine and carbon atoms.
this is why they are commonly used in a variety of industrial and commercial products. The longevity of these chemicals is not only dangerous to the environment, but also to people, since prolonged exposure to the PFAS in contaminated drinking water can cause the following health risks.
Increased cholesterol levels, changes in liver enzymes, hormone disruption, and increased risk for thyroid disease, cancer, infertility, and more. To further understand the issue, we have to understand where the contamination is coming from.
At the Panero here outside the Coca-Cola factory in Downey, California, many citizens of Downey, including myself, may have been unaware of the current controversies surrounding this factory and the safety of our drinking water. It all started back in 2020 at a water safety protest in Southeast LA. This protest was against Assemblymember Cristina Garcia and her SB 625 bill. These protests were able to draw a lot of attention to PFAS contamination in surrounding cities, such as Pico Rivera and Downey, California. Downey City Council members always refuse the idea that there's anything wrong with our water. But a memo that was released on February 2nd, 2021 showed undeniable proof that not only was Downey's water heavily polluted with PFAS, but city council members knew this and were actively encouraging the council to do nothing about it. These water quality tests show that every single well in Downey is contaminated with PFAS. The data shown is divided between the two classes of PFAS, PFOA and PFOS. For reference, the notification level for PFOA is 5.1 ppt or parts per trillion, and 6.5 ppt for PFOS. The memo reads that notification levels are adversary in nature and not enforceable standards, and that no further city council action is required at this time. While this is legally true, let's think about the effect this contamination has not only in our community, but all over the United States. The most contaminated well with 15 ppt of PFOA and 52 ppt of PFOS is well 16, which is located near Cecilia Street. This well is within 1 mile of this Coca-Cola factory, Downey High School, and PAH Hospital. Within our community, water fountains and tap water are contaminated for the students at Downey High School, the people at PIH, and all the residential apartments and houses within that area. As for the rest of the US, the proximity to the Coca-Cola factory is particularly concerning. This factory proudly states that all these products were bottled here in Downey and then shipped all over the southwestern United States. So this means that every single person that lives in Arizona, New Mexico, California, Colorado, Nevada, or Utah could unknowingly be drinking Coca-Cola products that are heavily contaminated with PFAS.
So since we now know what the issue is, let's talk about what PFASs are and what PFOs are. So basically what these contaminants are, they are a class of thousands of synthetic chemicals used to make product resistant to water, heat, and stains. So PFASs often referred to as forever chemicals, meaning they do not easily break down in the environment and are difficult to destroy. So because of this, we have to work together and find ways for Downey to get clean water. Recently, another city, Pico Rivera, had the same exact contaminants. And what they did was have people fund for the water billing to provide safe, clean water for everyone. So this system helped remove all of the PFASs and all of the PFOs. So the money going towards this project helped to fully filtrate every water well used by the city. So this information was last updated, I believe, May 5th, 2022. So it was not long ago. This is fresh information, and we should all work together to provide clean water for everyone. We can all work together to either raise money, spread awareness, or donate to organizations if we're able to. Also, these contaminants are spreading at the hospital, which is not safe, to the school, Downey High School, it's not safe. And also the Coca-Cola factory has these contaminants in their soda because it's in Downey. So, and these are going worldwide. So everybody's getting contaminated as they're drinking Coke. Also, these contaminants can cause diseases like liver failure, kidney failure, and high blood pressure, which is unsafe. So yeah, let's work together, and thank you.
My name is Theo Khan, and I'm here to inform you on how you could help us make a positive change in Downing's water quality. We have created a simple petition to help our voices be heard by City Council. All you have to do is scan our QR code, fill in your name and email, and you will be helping us achieve our goal to cleaner water. Thank you.
So yes, here's the QR code for our presentation. I'll pause for a moment so you can scan it if you want to be able to sign the petition to so we can show it to Downey City Council members. Okay, so for my process, I had to write a script since it was a film and I've never really made a film before. It was a really unique experience to get more comfortable in front of a camera and learn how to film in public. I was really nervous because I was filming at the Coca-Cola factory. So there was a lot of delivery drivers and people coming in and out of, and it made me nervous to film in front of people because it was something I've never done before. But I had a really great time. It was really fun to kind of do it news reporter style. And I think it was a great experience, and I'll definitely keep it in mind as a media to share my ideas in the future. And what I learned, well, I learned a lot about PFAS and safe drinking water. I had no idea about this problem that was happening in Downey before, which I know many other people didn't, which is why we decided to make a film. So I think that was really important to learn about. And I also learned about myself. I learned that I'm very passionate about the justice part, environmental justice. So I care about environmental issues and the way that they affect people. So like I care about social work and stuff like that, which I was happy to learn because now I know what I want to do in the future. And I was really grateful for this internship so that I could learn more about the world and about myself.
What I learned about myself was that I also liked the justice part of this project. At first, when I heard about the issue with clean drinking water, my first thought jumped to creating an actual filter for residents and the city to try to solve the issue. But with my group's help, I got an open mind and we decided to petition the city council. What I learned about the world, I found it really incredible. The fact that a 17-year-old at home could create a petition and hopefully have the city council look at it from home and just make a difference in the world. Which leads me to what I hope the future of the project is. I hope that our petition does get signatures, and I hope that city council makes a difference and cleans our water. Thank you.
I am Christy Golden, and as for my process in the video, when the first step was brainstorming, there was two questions that were prominent. First, what are the main problems that we want to solve? And second, what can we do that will actually cause an effect in our community as a small group in a short amount of time? So the main problem we wanted to address was the fact that not a lot of people knew about the water contamination in Downey, so they didn't know what to do about it. And we thought, what can we do? We can spread awareness on this by making a video and making it more talked about, more discussed, making it so there was a greater understanding and so people knew what to do in response. Next was filming. So I wanted to showcase different places in Downey. So the people watching the video were more engaged because they saw places that they had maybe been before or maybe went to school or had children going to school. And then I wanted to add clips to enhance understanding, like the clips of the water filtration system. And then I had to build a script so that way I had my talking points that I wanted to discuss over the video. And then as for editing, I had to put the clips in a logical order so that way it would make sense. And I wanted to make the video visually interesting and engaging so that way people would be more inclined to finish watching it. So what do we want to accomplish as a group? First, we wanted to inform people on the issue so that way, since it wasn't a really discussed issue or even known in the Downey area, so we figured once we can inform people, we can spread the awareness on different platforms. So we wanted to put the video on things like YouTube so that way people could watch it on their own time. And then we put it on things like Instagram so more people can get engaged. Next
Next, we want to direct people on how to help, because if they had the information on the problem but didn't know how to address the problem, it wouldn't really have as great of effect. So we wanted to tell them how to petition the Downey City Council and how to kind of deal with it on their own. And next, we wanted to create outlets like the online petition, so that way we make it even more easily facilitated. So if the QR code is at the end, it makes it more easily accessible and available to everybody. And next, we want to take further steps outside of the internship and do things like put it on the school announcements at Downey High School. As for what I learned in this internship, I had a greater capacity to discuss with other people in my community that weren't necessarily in the internship. And I learned that even though these people were just teenagers like me, they also had an interest in this, because if they do go to school in Downey and Warren, it does have an effect on them because they are drinking this water. And it also taught me that we do have an ability to incite change regardless of our age, because we can start small in our community and tackle relevant issues. Next, that involvement is important when outreaching, because what makes an issue be able to get solved and to cause more when it comes to solving an issue is getting more people involved and discussing with more people. Next, I learned about the world is that issues can often go overlooked. Like, this is a common issue and it can be dangerous, yet not a lot of people know about it. And finally, I learned that collaboration can be productive when brainstorming, because different people can bring different issues to the table. Going forward, I want to do more research about the spaces that I live in to ensure that they are safe, and I also want to take action with the things that aren't safe or that aren't necessarily great in my community, so I can do things to help solve relevant issues. And then I do this by starting small, creating centered projects within my community, or looking for necessarily any projects that are ongoing and doing my part in helping my community. Lastly, I really want to discuss more with the people I know about these issues, because I think that it's an important step in educating yourself and becoming more introspective about things you do.
Hi, so my name is Gerline, and this was my process. So I basically researched articles about what other cities have done to fix this issue. Many other cities like Pico Rivera have fixed this issue because they fought for something big. And we have to work together, get signatures, and spread awareness about how these contaminants are hurting us. The image shows how Pico cleaned out all the contaminants in their water wells completely, and this is where I found my information and where I researched. What I learned. So I learned that PFASs are very bad for the environment, but also for your physical health. Many diseases can occur that lead to more serious issues. These contaminants don't also get destroyed easily in the environment and take a very long time to degrade. This is a very serious issue, and I'm extremely passionate about helping those in need who need safe, clean drinking water. The future of this project. So as we help our own city get safe, clean drinking water, I want to step it up and take it to more cities and third world countries where they don't have any water. This is a bigger issue in so many other parts of the world where I would like to help provide clean water. So yeah, and I would like to thank the Buyer Group for giving us this amazing opportunity to share what we believe in, and also Brian, thank you for helping us make this come to life. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. I loved, I absolutely loved the journalistic tone of the film. And also just some of the things you guys have named. It's making my heart sing. Starting small, realizing that even at your age, even though the culture may be telling you, wait and keep preparing, you guys can take action now and make a difference. Next up is Itzy.
One second while I share my screen here. Presentation.
All right, so hello, my name is Itzcual Sandoval. I'm going into my senior year at Downey High School, and the project that I chose to work on was plastic waste and drought information. So the objective of my project was to educate the general public or my community on the effects that plastic waste has on our environment, as well as providing the community with tips and tricks to conserve water during California's current drought. The way I did this was by providing a website where people can put their tips and tricks on, and other people, it's like essentially a blog where people can talk about what they do to conserve water and to recycle and such. And then this way the message spreads and other people can follow suit. So the overview is I created pamphlets, a website for people to share their methods. And on one of the pamphlets, I attached a QR code. That way there's an ease of access for people. I mean, people always walking around with their cell phone, just pull it out and scan the pamphlet that I created quickly if they want to add onto the website or just take a look at it. So this is the first pamphlet I created about recycling. I posted this in high foot traffic areas at my local park, Duncan Abbey. There's a lot of people walking with their kids, pushing strollers, walking their dogs. So I thought it would be a good area to post this. And then I also posted in areas where there aren't many accessible recycling bins. That way people are aware of this, and then maybe in the future we can work on getting those bins out there. So this is my second poster. I posted this closer to neighborhoods, not inside of neighborhoods. I didn't want to be walking around posting papers in people's neighborhoods, but I posted them, on the outside, on sidewalks and stuff like that, so people can just, I guess, be aware of a couple of things when it comes to the way they use their water. So yeah. My future plans for my project are to create a pamphlet targeted toward beach cities in terms of recycling, with information on the effects that plastic and just trash in general has on marine life, but also cities that across the globe where trash is washing up on their sands. And so I also want to create another website where I can, well, the website that I created was like a blog, simple, but I think I want to create a website like Punya where I learn how to code, and like more of an informational website. And then lastly, I want to speak to the city council to set aside funds, my Cerritos city council, to set aside funds for recycling bins and to make them more accessible to people just walking on the street. And just, I don't know, yeah. My self-reflection / the end, something I learned was that no matter how small your project is, it could still make a difference in your community and just in the world in general. And I think something that I improved was my communication skills throughout the internship. I want to thank the Baya group and everybody, Ryan, for listening. And yeah, just thank you guys. That's it.
Thank you, Itzy. Navigating between Yosemite and the internship and low Wi-Fi. You made it happen, my man. Good job. Or Yellowstone, not Yosemite. My fault. Next up is Maria.
All right, thank you, Brian. Hi, everyone. My name is Maria Verblofska. I am an incoming senior at Davis Senior High School, and for my project, I decided to focus on education. Firstly, I wanted to see if education on climate change was a problem in my community. So I interviewed some of my peers, and everyone I talked to had some very serious concerns about our education system. Here are some quotes. And considering that climate change is one of the biggest threats facing humanity right now, I'd say that not having a specific curriculum in place for this is very concerning. So I decided to try to find a solution to this. I had 4 goals in my solution. Number one, I wanted this to be like a system where you're not just taking a temporary class and then moving on with your life. I wanted to build lifelong skills and begin noticing things in your day-to-day life. And this meant recognizing for commitment over participation. Number two is positive reinforcement, where it's not just a letter grade, but like a competition for who can make the most good. And this meant a reward system. Number three, education and action. I wanted my idea to both teach people about climate change, but also let them benefit their community on their own so they see those differences in person. And I wanted to build a community based on individual work. And number four, sustainable education. I wanted this education to be sustainable in the long run, which meant following UNESCO's 8 key sustainable development goals. Some of these include critical thinking, anticipatory learning, etc. And so that this education wouldn't just focus on the environment purely, but also on how climate change affects our economics and society. So introducing CareTask. CareTask is a school-wide competition where students can earn scholarships, prizes, and awards based on how much they help their community and environment. How does it work? The club will announce tasks relating to environmental protection. There are a lot of these. Some include biking to school, picking up trash around a community, painting a mural at school to promote sustainability, a lot more. And then the students will complete those tasks for different numbers of points depending on difficulty. The officer team and advisor will verify the submissions of tasks and award students with points. And the top earning students at the end of each quarter or semester will earn scholarship for college, prizes, and awards. And I'm hoping that the scholarships, prizes, and awards will be funded by organizations that wish to, number one, get promotion, and number two, to benefit their community. So what now? I decided to take this project a little bit further and implement CareTask at my school. Currently, I've completed the club guidelines, club meeting operations, expectations of club officers and members, a website format, a list of possible tasks, descriptions of different task types, and I'm currently assembling an officer team, working on setting up a funding account with Blue Dot Education, finding sponsors. So if anyone here would like to sponsor this project or knows anyone who would like to sponsor it, please let me know. I'm working on a promotional video and also completing the website. Here are some pictures of my design thinking process. On the left shows my first draft of CareTask, just a little simple mobile app. And this is the current website on the right. I'm still working on revising it right now. So what did I learn? Number one, perspectives from others can help. I realized that a lot of the time, just hearing someone else's opinions can help you develop an education. Because even though my learning methods might work for me, it doesn't mean that'll work for you. And so I had to sort of create, that's why I included the UNESCO's 8 key sustainable development goals, because those ensured that the education would continue on for a long time. Number two, there's no problem that can't be solved if you work with others. There's a sort of motto that I carry with me, and is that a lot of the time when you're working on something, you encounter problems, but someone else who has also worked on the same thing has encountered those problems in the past as well. And sometimes just talking to someone can really help to overcome those problems. And number three, perseverance pays off. And finally, a quote from my favorite show, Parks and Recreation: "No one achieves anything alone." Finally, I would like to thank Brian, the deep dive lead. You've been an inspiration to me and you've helped me a lot during this journey. Thank you to Blue Dot Education for your support. And thank you very much to Baya Group for this internship and this incredible opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. A very, very large in scope project to take on entering your senior year. Nice work. So next up is Stephen, and we have dealt the entire time with Stephen's Wi-Fi being a challenge for him. He tried practicing the presentation, I think 2 or 3 times. It froze each time. So he finally filmed himself, and I will share the video that he shared with me earlier today.
Hello, my name is Stephen Estevez. I'm from Warren High School. My project today will be about plastic pollution. About my project is a website. My website will inform you the dangers and consequences of plastic pollution. Plastic pollution is a bigger problem than we think. We dump millions of pounds into the ocean every single year, which affects the sea animals. I also explain the recycle process. My process for my project is my first step, I would gather information about plastic pollution and the effects of it. My second step is to make the website. My third step is to put the information order in my website. My fourth step will be to show pictures of plastic pollution. What I learned about myself and what I learned about the world. I learned that plastic is recycled badly and severely. I also learned that we need more recycle bins out in the streets and anywhere else. I learned that we need to use other things than plastic for material to put stuff in. I learned that we dump millions of plastic into the ocean every single year. I also learned, what I learned about the world is killing animals with the plastic that is being dumped into the ocean and how it affects the animals' daily lives. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to spread the word through my website about plastic pollution and why it is such a bad thing to the world, to the environment, and to sea animals. I try to explain the cycle of plastic pollution and the effects it has just on the world itself, if that. For example, the plastic pollution cycle will be extraction, next will be plastic production, after that the point of sale, and after that the consumers will buy it, and then whatever after that would be the waste industry, and then finally dumping and burning. The dumping and burning is the biggest thing about plastic pollution. We either burn the plastic or we dump the plastic, which harms the environment. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Stephen, for sending that our way. Next up is Amelia.
So hello, my name is Amelia and I'm an upcoming senior at Warren High School. And today I'm going to be talking to you about my environmental justice design project named Sustainable Community. So the issue that I picked was environmental accessibility. So to understand what environmental accessibility is, you really just have to ask yourself, are you in a place where there are sustainable programs? And if not, then you're part of the majority of minority communities that don't have access to sustainability. And there are many causes for this, but I focused on the main two. The first being money. Obviously, a lot of affluent communities have more money to spend on infrastructure or programs that are not needed and are more for sustainable causes. The second is race. Majority of the time, minority communities have a hard time connecting to the idealistic life of sustainability. For example, many people promote eating clean, but they put minority foods that are part of their culture on the bad list. So it's really hard for them to want to do that if they don't have a connection. And obviously, because of this, minority communities bear the brunt of environmental problems. So my idea was a program aimed at minority communities to help create long-lasting sustainable habits. And I first went at this by creating a pamphlet. So the first section of the pamphlet explains what the program is and what their objective is. The second part is ways to contact us and how we can come to your community. And the last part is the most important, which is catered to each community. So there is a connection to that community, especially in an atmosphere where there can be a lot of distress to newcomers. However, from the very beginning of my project, I had a much bigger idea. And after showing off my pamphlet and realizing where I wanted to go with this, Brian just finally said to go for it. And I decided to create a nonprofit. Obviously, it is nowhere near done. And all I have right now is the purpose and some bylaws talking about membership and voting rights. But hopefully in the future, I'll be able to make this into an actual thing. And if not, I'll at least be able to implement some of these ideas into my school. So what can I take away from this? The main thing I can take away from this is following the process, especially this being a summer internship. It's always easy to take the easy way out, but it was harder for me to take the easy way out because this is something that I was so passionate about. And it's also really cool to see the growth from where I started of creating a pamphlet to now doing something really ambitious, such as creating a nonprofit. And even though I always knew that I wanted to go into environmental justice, this internship really solidified that I could enjoy it as a career. So thank you, and to the VEA group and to Brian.
Thank you so much, Amelia. Yeah. Yeah, 5 weeks when you're starting in week 3 to start a nonprofit. It's a little bit short to like get that all together and wrapped up, but nice work. Next up is Nathan.
All right. Hi, my name is Nathan. I'm going to be an upcoming senior for Downey High School, and my project is a solar powered charger. So basically, I wanted to focus on air pollution and more specifically, like the electric side of things. Electricity is 1/4 of the total greenhouse gas emissions, and this is some data from 2020. So you could see at the bottom, the sources of this electricity is natural gases, nuclear energy, coal, renewable energies, and so on. So my solution was a solar panel charger. So the way this would work is this solar panel would charge a USB connection, and this USB connection could be used to charge your phone, or in my idea, it was to charge a portable charger, because if you're going to be outside, you're probably going to bring a portable charger. And if you're outside, you could just use the sun as a way to charge that portable charger. And then the 3 boxes here are the casing for each thing. So the top is the casing for the solar panel. The middle is the casing for the USB connection. And then the bottom is the casing for putting your phone and the portable charger. This is the software I used to design the pieces. And this is the software used for 3D printing the pieces I made. These were the results of the process I went through. So as you could see, I was outside and I used the solar panel to test out if the connection would work, and it was successful. And then these are the pictures of how the insides would look like. And this is how it looked like when it was all together. As you could see, you could fit the phone and also the portable charger at the bottom. And the middle is an opening for the USB connection. And the little hole is to stick in any wires that would be sticking out. So the impact I got from this was using solar energy over just plugging in your charger is just it's a small difference to a bigger problem, because instead of using just an outlet to connect and just charge your devices, you could just use solar power, which is renewable, and it's just a lot easier to work with. And also, if you could sell this product, so the common consumer could just buy this and it'd be like a local solution to air pollution. And what I learned from this experience is so the product did work, but it wasn't very effective due to the fact that the solar panel was kind of small. So you would need more solar panels at a larger size for this to actually like be practical. And another thing I learned was that I was able to commit to an idea, and I used skills that I already had, like 3D printing and CAD design, to make this possible. This is it, and I'd like to thank the Beha group and also Brian for funding this project I had. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Nathan. It was really cool to see you bring engineering into your design thinking process. And I think like that iterative process of I made it, I'm testing it, it's not working, I'm gonna have to like, work on the next iteration is totally something engineers are doing every day as they make the things we use. That's cool. And I believe this is our final presentation for the day is Jennifer.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so wait. So hello, my name is Jennifer, and the topic that I will be discussing today is environmental justice. But first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. About me. I am a senior at Glendale High School. I'm 17 years old. And when I initially joined the internship, I had communication mastery in mind. However, it didn't work out my schedule. I had a lot of conflicts and I was assigned to environmental justice. Overall, environmental justice has been a huge learning opportunity for me. And it is a very intriguing topic. Some things that I learned throughout the internship was to manage my time more efficiently. Throughout high school, you're given a certain schedule that everybody has to go by. And unlike the workforce where everybody has different schedules that you have to take into consideration. Journaling is also a very important role in this whole process. At the welcoming event, we were given a journal where we could write down everything, and it has helped me a lot. It has my progress from start to finish of the whole project. Constructive criticism is always a learning opportunity. You should never let it discourage you and always strive for the best and make new goals out of it. Also, working independently is a very important factor. You should always set your own schedule and make sure that all the deadlines are met by the end of the day. Something that I learned project-wise was it expanded my knowledge in coding. Before this, I had little experience in coding, and I chose one of my harder ideas so that I could. Sorry, my dog's are barking. So that I have little experience in coding, and I chose one of the harder ideas so that I could have a challenge. I made a game that you can see here. It is a game where each act that you do for air pollution, you gain points off of. So every time that you do an act, you'll press the green arrow and you gain 10 points. The tree's hunger and thirst is constantly going up. So to be able to keep the tree happy, you would need to feed it with food and water. On the next slide, you have simple ideas that you could do every day to gain more points. The game is mostly targeted for younger children, so the ideas are very simple. It's like, don't use a plastic straw, or go for a bike ride with your family. And it's very easy to function. I also learned more ways to prevent air pollution that everybody can do in their daily routine, such as turning off the light in a room or turning the TV off when no one's watching it. There are also many causes. I learned many causes to air pollution, like coal-fueled power plants or fumes from chemical production. My personal growth throughout this process was my confidence speaking publicly increased. I took class on Zoom and I would not participate because I was not comfortable speaking, and the internship has helped me gain more confidence with being on camera and speaking publicly. Also, focus on time management to ensure deadlines are met. I now have a certain schedule with time durations of which activities I'm going to be doing from a certain time to make sure that I complete everything that I need to within that day. I also receive constructive criticism and use it as a learning experience to be the best that you can and to not settle for the bare minimum. Overall, this experience has been amazing, and I would like to thank Brian for supporting me throughout this whole process and for letting me be a part of this wonderful opportunity. And that's it. Thank you.
And that wraps things for the environmental justice internship. Great job, guys. I am so proud of you all. The wondering I had going in was around whether this model of using design thinking and sort of an action-based approach to solving issues, if that could be used as a mechanism for a learning space as well. So you're both doing something about the issues, but learning about it along the way. And I think the results speak to the fact that there's a lot to this. It can be improved for sure. And I have some ideas on that already. But the work that you all did has helped me a ton and will help future groups that I work with. So I really, really appreciate everything that you all brought. Thank you so much.
I'm just curious if anyone has any questions. I'm checking YouTube.
Hello. Hi, my name is Lillian. I'm with Celico, a partner of Downey Made, and I just wanted to say everyone did such a great job with their projects. I have an environmental science background myself, so it just made me so happy to see all your efforts, and what you're doing here is important. So don't let this just be a summer-long project. Keep going. This is just the start, and it's something that will affect you long term. This is something that you'll carry with you in your future. So it's really great to see you starting now.
Lillian, thanks so much for joining us. We're so fortunate. Celico has been a key partner in this internship with Downey since it started. So we wanted to shout out to the Southeast Los Angeles Workforce Development Board, Celico for short. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
I'm just blown away by all of your presentations. I'm so inspired by the start small and then it kept getting bigger. And I loved hearing that you were so excited to go bigger, because we really need all of you to do what you do. This is a huge, huge issue, and all of you putting your hearts and passion and commitment to it is so inspiring. I definitely want to follow up with you, those of you who are creating websites and your petition and your nonprofits, and so let's definitely all stay in touch and figure out how to support one another. There are some groups that also did deep dives on these. The person who talked about the seeds, there's actually a deep dive where there's a nonprofit that they were creating regenerative product designs. So Kelly Cooper's company is actually, you all should connect, because she's actually interested in getting seeds out and how to mail them in a way that will protect the seeds and help them breathe. And so there are ways for us collectively in this internship to continue this, because I've said this many times to our deep dive leads. This is a movement. This is not just a project. This is not a little internship. This is a change and a shift in thinking and approaching big issues. And so I am so jazzed about how you have all just done so much to go from taking on something that you could have phoned it in. But you didn't. Each of you really, there's so much heart and commitment to what you've done that I am so inspired and want to support you in any way I can. So just know that anyone who knows me is something where I would love to co-design with you on how we can approach these, even if it's small steps. Doing these showcases, getting people to listen and getting it out there, the flyers, the recycling on your campus, right? Those are things that are real that can happen. You going out to Coca-Cola, right? Yes, they're a big employer in your community and they could do better, right? And name it. So I'm, again, so inspired. I wanted to thank you all for all that you've done in this internship. All right, my question with all of that is, what's a takeaway that you have from this internship? if you'd be willing to share, that'd be awesome. Could I start by calling on someone? Amelia, would you be willing to share?
A takeaway that I have is that you can't really plan everything. It's like you start with an idea and you really want it to work, but sometimes even if it does work, you don't want to stick to that. So I learned to just go with the flow and try not to plan everything and learn to grow.
Thank you. Helene?
Hi. One thing that I took away from it, I was the stingray bite, and I can tell you that the first thing that popped into my head was that I couldn't wait to share my ideas with Brian the following day because I had like a whole breakthrough on my ads. And I just wanted to say that being in a good environment with a lot of like uplifting and positive people really helps like impact your ideas. So again, I just want to thank Brian for also connecting because he's been bit 3 times by stingrays and so he understands, but just for being there and for adjusting to all of our when life happens and just being positive and uplifting.
I'm just curious, does it hurt?
Yeah, it's the most excruciating pain in the whole entire world. Yeah.
Wow. So thank you. Thank you for, yes, I'm glad that it came up that you were excited to talk to Brian and to kind of put aside that pain and go to something positive. So thank you. Thanks, Brian. 3 times. What?
Like I'm the most unlucky person in the ocean, but when she said that, I was like, oh, take some time, take a day. You're gonna need time to like get yourself together because it is excruciating.
Joshua, would you be willing to share a takeaway that you got from this internship?
Yeah, a takeaway I've learned from this internship is that most time management is very good because I've went in and out of Atlanta, and with that I have to plan out of what I'm going to do and what time I need to do it.
Yes, time management and working from home. So those of you who are joining us, just so everybody knows, everybody had to work from home on their own schedules. Some were traveling. We know some interns were out of country. Many had summer school. Many had other jobs. And so in addition to just other responsibilities, then life happens, like getting stung by a stingray. Is there someone else who'd be willing to share?
I can say something.
Thank you, Samantha.
Oh, you can go, Punya.
Oh, Punya, then Samantha, is that okay?
Okay. I guess I just learned that taking things step by step is really important because like at the beginning of this internship, all my ideas seemed way too big and like I didn't really know how I would get there. But like looking back from now, I don't know how I got here either. Like I created an entire website and I just took things day by day and it just like went by so fast.
It's amazing. You made a website in less than 6 weeks.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Samantha.
Yeah, so my biggest takeaway is that no idea is too big. Like I definitely was very overwhelmed making a film. I've never edited a video like that before. I've never really talked in front of a camera. So Brian was very encouraging and that meant a lot. Like everyone had really huge ideas, like Amelia with her nonprofit and Maria with her website and Punya too. It was just, yeah, no idea is too big. And I learned a lot from this internship for sure.
Wow, that video was so compelling. Thank you. Anyone else willing to share? Diego, are you talking? Would you be willing to share?
Yeah, I'd say similar to what Samantha was saying, that it's just you're more capable than what you think you can do. The fact that we created a petition and the video, it was, yeah, really surprising.
I'm excited to see what happens next with the petition. So please do keep us posted. Jason, would you be willing to share?
I think my biggest takeaway is that you can't be closed-minded, and that like even if you have an idea and it can't go through, you could always find another one that can help out your community.
Definitely. How about Emily?
Yeah, I guess like what Jason was saying. Originally like how I wanted to start with something, but I just wasn't really able to like make that breakthrough. And I just came back to something a lot more local, and any change is still change, so that's good. I just really enjoyed this internship, and it was kind of difficult like juggling a job and then like 2 internships, but I was just glad that I was able to do this.
Did you just say a job and 2 internships?
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. That's a lot. You stuck with it and completed. Thank you so much.
I could share. My biggest takeaway, I think, was probably that I need to improve the way I manage my time. Just with other activities that I had, summer school and stuff like that, I just think that I need to improve the way I work. And towards the end, I think I improved. But yeah, that was my biggest takeaway.
That's a big one. That's something that we hope for in the internship is for you to see yourself differently. So that's huge. Is there some, Genevieve, are you willing to share?
Yes. I would think one of my biggest takeaways would be like pushing myself into this internship and like trying something new, I guess, for myself.
Yeah, thanks for that.
My biggest takeaway from the internship was that you can like make things that you don't really know about something that's important to you, and you can make it a lot of fun if you like have a positive outlook.
Can I jump in there, June, just real quick, just to name something for all of them?
Please, Brian.
I think that's a really important one for you guys to hold close and remember going forward, is that if you at any point in your life find yourself in a situation where you're waking up and dragging yourself to a place and it's like a job and it feels heavy and it feels like it's not uplifting, you got to really reevaluate that work could and should feel, uplifting. It should be a calling. And that's difficult. You got to navigate a lot to get there, and it's a fine balance to keep. But I think it's an important lesson to remember.
Yes. It is something that's come up about the environment, especially working from home. It's the community that's established. So thank you, Brian, for creating a safe space and environment for all of them to really engage and really stretch their own sense of what was possible. I mean, that definitely came up just listening to all of your projects. And I wanted to make sure, Maria, please, what would you like to share?
Thank you. I wanted to add on to what Samantha, Diego, and Punya said, who all made incredible works. I'm very impressed by what you did. that like if you find your passion in life and you find what you want to do, then I guess anything's possible. If you put that work in and you just go step by step, what's the next best thing you can do, then you can get from what I had a little simple app idea that I wasn't going to pursue to a club next year that I'm working on right now.
It's so inspiring, all of it. I have to say, I mean, Brian and I have talked a lot about this. We've talked about it with our deep dive colleagues. This is for me personally a labor of love. All of this internship, hanging out with all of you, these showcases are by far my favorite of all the stuff I have ever done in my career. And I just want to say that just hearing you reflect on what you get out of these experiences keeps me going, and that we really do hope you continue to share with us ways we can improve this whole thing, what we could do differently, what you liked. So please do stay in touch with us. It's something that I would love for us to continue building relationship. There's reasons why we have Brian and other folks who are our deep dive leads. They're really intended to be mentors, and I can just tell from each of the showcases that the deep dive leads have built relationship with the interns, and that was definitely by design. So things are by design, and that is something that we have been very, very mindful of, which is to have folks who are creating these experiences and opportunities that do those things. So I'm so happy to hear that some of the seeds we planted, we can see some of it grow, and from your feedback. So thank you, everyone. So I just want to make a plug. I don't know if there's any other questions before we stop the live stream, because we do have another showcase. Brian's colleague, Adam, is doing the deep dive at 4 o'clock with his interns in business development and entrepreneurship. So I wanted to make sure we end this one, give them a space to come, and also give you all a chance to celebrate. So are there any other questions or comments before I say goodbye on YouTube? Are we good? All right. So those of you watching on YouTube, thank you. We are back in half an hour at 4 p.m. with Adams. We're doing the last showcase at 4 p.m. So please do come back. It's our 16th showcase because there have been 16 deep dives. And so thank you everyone for joining us. Please do come back. Subscribe if you haven't already. I do like seeing our number of subscribers go up after every showcase. So thank you for joining us. And I'm going to